Okay, we're through the worst part of winter here in western Pennsylvania. There's hardly even any salt on the road because we've had rain over the past few days. Temperature today is close to 60 degrees, first Monday in February. And here's what my truck looks like. I'm sure the fluid film is still on there. I have not washed the truck. It's got salt splatter in the wheel wells. I've got the fluid film on the wheels. That'll wash right off with some mild car wash detergent. And if you've seen my other video, I sprayed from here down right on the paint with fluid film before winter. I sprayed the bumpers, but then I hand rubbed them too. You can see the salt. But one of the reasons I'm making a video is I want to point out, where's my key, that my floor was getting wet. And what I discovered was down in the gap below the rear window and the bed, there's a couple squares. You can see the top, that black plastic down there. Right there, that's against the back of the cab down in there. Now you can see the dirt line. That was packed with leaves. All right, that's why it's so filthy. All right, now I did spray that with fluid film when the truck was brand new. From here, I didn't have much of an angle on it, but you don't see those rotting out from salt corrosion too much. But there's one of those gray things. I don't know if it's some type of a cab breather or what. Let me go around the other side. But here's what I think was happening. People are getting water inside their Ram. Their carpets are getting wet. And people are blaming the gasket around the window. They're blaming the gasket around the rear taillight on the cab. But I think it's that black plastic panel. There's another one on this side. If you look down there, right in front of my finger against, you can barely see the plastic square, okay? Now here's what I think was going on there, how I was getting water in the cab, making the carpet wet only on the side behind the driver. And what happened is, I think, this was full of leaves, and when it would rain, those leaves were helping that water wick through whatever that black plastic thing is. I don't know if it's around the outside or if that's got some kind of a screen or something in front of it, with something to allow it to breathe. But I think that's how the water was getting in there. I really do. I think that was it, because my floors are dry now since I've discovered that back in November or December. It was tough getting those leaves out of there. That's because I got all these trees, and I park here. So all these trees are constantly dropping branches and leaves. Here's the branches that fell over the last few days. That's pretty big. That's about 10 feet long. Constantly picking up branches, but look at the leaves. Those are the ones I've blown over the hill. But they were packed in there. It took me about half an hour to get them out using something that wouldn't scratch my paint. But I think that that is how water was getting in the cab. Now at the same time, I did silicone this gasket. I did a nice job, real skinny bead all around the outside of the window. And I pulled the rear brake light housing out and I siliconed the gasket, and I didn't see any evidence of it leaking, but I did that too. And I also cleaned out these holes. There's 2 holes, 3 holes in this lower part of this gasket. I don't know if that's to allow water to get out of there, but I stuck a small skinny wire in there, and there was some debris in there, and I used my shop vac to suck it out on both of them. So I don't know if my siliconing around the window solved the issue, or silicone around the rear brake light solved the issue. Cleaning out these holes in that gasket solved the issue. But I think it was me cleaning out the leaves that were piled up and allowing water to wick into the cab, only behind the driver's side. Back seat in the floor. And I keep a Dickies hooded work coat in there, just in case, for emergencies, in case I have to change a tire or work on a car or something like that when it's cold out. And I was keeping that. Let me open the truck. I was keeping that in here. And when I took it out, cleaning my truck out, it was soaked. It just had sucked up all that water that was in there. And my carpets were damp a little bit. But now, they're as dry as popcorn. So the issue has been solved. I just don't know which of the issues I attacked was the one that solved it. But I'm just glad I solved it. Anyway, I don't see any rust. And I have not washed the truck. I washed this truck in the springtime to get the salt and the dirt off and to clean the wheels off. And then I will wash the truck in October or November and wax it and put the fluid film back on the bumpers and the wheels and crawl under the truck and see what needs touched up. And I have never, this is a 2017, it's now 2025, I have never sprayed under the truck. Never. I don't want to disturb the thorough fluid film spray I put under there when the truck was 5 days old in 2017. I do go under there and touch up where I can see where I missed, you know, like I'll spray something like a bolt sticking down through the floor, and you can see that the spray missed where a shadow would be behind the bolt if I was holding a light where the spray gun was, and places like that. But overall, the frame, zero rust. The tank, gas tank straps, zero rust. Inside the running boards, or the quarter panels, I even took those brackets off the running boards so that I would get a good coat of fluid film where the bracket attaches to the frame. Then I put them on while it was saturated with fluid film. Inside these bulkheads, there's some supports, and you can't spray from here and expect to get it up in here. I had to invent some tools that would go around those bulkheads to spray inside here. And I also show in one of my videos, I pull this out and put that snorkel that comes on the spray cans you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or Napa Auto Parts for $10 or $11. I stick the snorkels in there And I make sure I get both sides so that it will run wherever it wants to go, which is the same place that salt water will go. So that's what my truck looks like after winter. I really sprayed behind these bumpers because when I bought my GMC pickup new, and I did the first oil change to get the break-in oil out, while I was under there, I was looking around. The insides of my bumpers were about 25% rust. Bad. And the truck was only like 5 weeks old. And I went back to the dealer. I said, these bumpers are rotting off already. They said, we can't do anything until they rust a hole through the bumper. Now, I've seen bumpers on some Ford and General Motors trucks that were so rusty and flaky that it looked like you could go up and grab the bumper and just break it off. I know that the standard for bumpers for the Federal Highway Administration, whoever, the Safety Administration, whatever it's called, the standard for truck bumpers is lower than the standard for car bumpers has to be. That's probably why they make them out of old rusty cars. And you really have to spray inside those bumpers if you want them to stay around. The first place my GMC had visible rust was right here, under these treads. And if you've seen my other videos, I really sprayed under these treads. You can pry them up just a little bit and get that snorkel under there and just let it have it. But you can see why. And you can see how that looks still juicy from fluid film from 2017. It attracts dust. You can see the dirt. But I'd rather have dust than rust. I'm happy it survived another winter. I'll make another video in April when I clean the filth off of it. Anyway, the weather's getting better, and it won't be long now. Then I'll have to start cutting grass, work in the garden, open the pool, and keep dodging branches falling off of the trees. Those are called widow makers. Those big branches that come down. I got one right there. Right there. That's probably about 10 or 12 feet long. It's been up there all winter. Gotta watch out for that. Anyway, I'll see you there.